Magomed Ankalaev is now the light heavyweight champion of the world. No more Chama, no more champion by the name of Alex Pereira. Now, some people thought that Alex Pereira deserved to win the fight. I just did a review show for TNT Sports. One of the hosts on there thought that Pereira was robbed. It wasn't a robbery. It was the correct decision. I had Magomed Ankalaev winning 4 rounds to 1. I've already done my review. But the question is, what went wrong? What does he need to do different? And what happens next? Now, there's a lot of narratives. Of course, first of all, people were talking about Alex Pereira maybe not being fully committed to this fight, flying all over the world, going to Australia and stuff like that, making the most out of this moment in time and maximizing on his earning potential. Dana White was asked about that, and he said, look, listen, we often see that. We see people fly all over the world. A lot of doors open when you become the champion of the world. And when you're the biggest star in the sport of mixed martial arts, there is a lot of distractions. And yeah, maybe that did play a little bit of a factor, but I think the biggest factor was Magomed Ankalaev. He was just that good. He was big enough, he was strong enough, and he had a great game plan. Now, Pereira said that those kind of game plans shouldn't be rewarded, and it's going to incentivize people going forward to try and do that, to nullify their opponent.
Do that against people. You know, people might say it's a boring style, but, you know, when a guy gets a win doing that, it kind of makes people want to do that too.
Well, Magomed Ankalaev isn't having any of that. Pereira's made a statement, but first of all, here is what Magomed Ankalaev had to say. He said, I kept moving forward, I kept pressuring him, and he kept running away from me for 20 minutes. The guy was running away from me. Then I heard at the end of the fight, he was saying that he wasn't sure why the victory wasn't given to him. Look, listen, if there is an immediate rematch, and I do believe that should be next for Alex Pereira, he deserves it, okay? What he has done for this sport, the impact that he has made, the entertainment that he has given us, and the fact that he wiped out the entirety of the light heavyweight division. There really is no reason not to give Alex Pereira another crack of the whip, another chance. And I'll tell you what, we'd all be very intrigued to see what he might do differently, because right now, there isn't too many other contenders, because Ankalaev is currently on a 16-fight unbeaten streak. 14 wins in a row, 1 draw, 1 no contest. And the only other people that have achieved that are the absolute greats of this. We're talking Anderson Silva, John Jones, Islam Makhachev. 16 fights in a row, 20 wins with only 1 loss in a fight that he was dominating up until that final second where Paul Krieg pulled off that submission. What he's doing right now is incredible, and I think he deserved to win that fight. He was the one going forward. He was the one pressuring. However, Alex Pereira came out, made a statement, and he ain't bothered. He's still giving it the Chama. He's still very happy, and he's still got a lot to celebrate.
Bom, mas estou bem. Descansar pouco. Já estou voltando, né? Como eu sempre fiz. Já aconteceu algumas vezes isso comigo, mas, eu tô bem.
Yeah, he says he'll be back. This has happened before. Of course it has, when he got knocked out against Israel Adesanya. What did he do? He moved up a weight class and became a dominant champion.
Né? Agradeço todo o apoio de vocês, né? Com todo o carinho, sempre me apoiando. Estou recebendo muitas mensagens também de grande incentivo. Estou aqui com o pessoal, minha família, meu time, meus filhos. Tá todo mundo aqui, todo mundo comendo aqui.
See, that's what it's all about. There he is with his family, enjoying some pizza. Listen, they're all going home. He's got plenty of money in the bank and he's won in life. He is a champion in life. Remember, worked in the tire shop, had a drinking problem as well. That was a long time ago when he was working on the back streets of Brazil. Now he's main eventing all over the world, flying around the world on private jets, first class, beautiful hotel suites all over the world, and a load of money in the bank. And his children are happy and healthy, and he's still got options. No doubt he will be the next person. It isn't going to be Jiri Prochazka, because Jiri Prochazka came out congratulating Magomed Ankalaev, and Ankalaev came back and said, you're a fraud. Go away and win some fights. So Pereira cleaned out the division. Ankalaev is on a 16-fight unbeaten streak. So the rematch is probably going to happen next.
But a fight that close with a champion as great as Pereira has been, do you lean towards immediate rematch?
Probably.
Magomed Ankalaev wants the fight to go down in Abu Dhabi, Fight Island, and that's all the way in October. Now, granted, he's the champion now. And generally, when you're trying to work your way up, you're trying to build a name, get a following, get the win streak long and popping, which is what he did. But now he's the champ. And the champs don't fight usually as regularly as what Pereira did, okay? Now, that fight would be about 7 months away. That's quite long. Maybe that's a good thing for Pereira. Gives him time to actually go away and have a break, have a rest, get hungry again, get mean, and miss not being a champion. Because the reality is, at 37 years old, he's got to make this one count. If Pereira comes back and loses to Ankalaev, I'm not saying that he's going to be a sore loser or cry and go home and sulk over it, but realistically, the man's done it all. He's knocked it out the park. He was a 2-weight champion in kickboxing, a 2-weight division champion in the UFC, made a tremendous amount of money, changed the trajectory of his family's life forever, made millions of dollars and did it all with his fists, never sold himself short. He's a fan favorite, he's very popular, and he's got nothing more to prove. And he could go on, by the way. If he loses to Ankalaev again, he could continue having fights, he could continue main eventing, being on pay-per-views. He'll always be a draw, but would he want to still do that? So the reality is there is a lot of pressure because fighters, we want to be the best. That is our identity, and our egos take a big hit. So what does he do different in the rematch? Well, he's just got to be more aggressive. Simple as that. Ankalaev was able to pressure him and put him on the back foot. He had Pereira backing up for the majority of the fight, okay? And regardless of who landed the more shots, and the bigger shots were certainly on the side of Ankalaev, when you're looking at a fight and it's close, and one guy's going backwards, and one guy's landing all the damage, which was Ankalaev, he definitely landed the bigger shots, the more impactful ones, nearly dropped him at the end of the round 2. Knocked him flying with some kicks, put together some nice combinations, and pushed him up against the fence a lot. Pereira had really good takedown defense. So going forward, he needs to believe in his ability to defend the takedowns. Maybe that messed with him a little bit. Maybe he thought this Dagestani is going to be a better wrestler than what he anticipated. So that caused him to freeze up a little bit. In the rematch, Pereira has got to go for it. It's shit or bust. This will be his last chance at becoming a champion. All talks are going up to heavyweight and becoming a 3-weight division champion. That's kind of out the window for now. But if he comes back, knocks out Ankalaev, and knocks out another 1 or 2 people, all bets are back on. Simple as that. John Jones, Tom Aspinall, they'll want to go at that. Alex Pereira would want to go at that because he's big enough to go up to heavyweight. But right now, all of those massive opportunities, they rest on one thing. Whether or not he can reclaim the title, beat Magomed Ankalaev, and restore the Chama. Okay? Now he's still dropping the Chamas, and rightly so, because he should. Because he's done it. He's smashed it. He's knocked it out the park. Everyone's happy. He's healthy. He's having a pizza, and rightly so. But he didn't win the fight. And I think mainly it wasn't anything physical. It wasn't anything technical. It was more psychological. He's got a big guy in front of him, a man that wrestled. He allowed himself to get backed up. And maybe he was just burned out. You know, the schedule that he's been on since he came to the UFC, he's only been with the UFC for just over 3 years. In that time, he had 11 fights, which is crazy on its own, and 8 title fights, 8 5-round fights with insane pressure, within a crazy workload where you're pushing yourself to the absolute limit. So it's no wonder he was like maybe slacking off in training. No wonder that he was enjoying the riches of his spoils, flying around the world and enjoying himself. What is the point of doing all this hard work and making all this money if you can't enjoy the moment a little bit? That's something that I wish I did more at the time. You're so involved, you're so in the moment, you're working so hard that you don't stand back sometime and just smell the roses and be like, look at this. Look at what I've built. So the man's free to fly around the world and do whatever he wants, and he absolutely deserves it. But all that time, all that travel, all those fights, all that preparation definitely would have worn him out. As I said on the prediction video before the fight, he's only human. So he was beaten by the better man, but he was also probably burned out mentally, physically, a lot of fatigue, a lot of travel. I say take a few months off, come back, fight Magomed Ankalaev in Abu Dhabi, do it in an area where Magomed Ankalaev is going to kind of be the hometown favorite. He's going to have all the support. Go in there, wreck shop, get the belt back and look for the knockout. But it's going to be his last chance at 37 years old, and maybe it might be the last time we ever see Alex Pereira fight again. I don't think that would be the case, but if it was, what a career. And talk about making a splash in the UFC in a very, very short amount of time. No one's done that better than Alex Pereira. But make no mistake, next time up against Magomed Ankalaev, this will be the final chance. If you lose 2 in a row, you ain't going to get a third matchup. And Magomed Ankalaev, I don't know if anyone can beat him. If Alex Pereira can't, a record of 20-1, the one loss was a legitimate loss, but he made a mistake in the final seconds. He's essentially undefeated, if you will, in a weird kind of way. So if Pereira can't beat him, does anybody beat him? Anyway, what do you think Alex Pereira needs to do next? And do you think he won? Do you think he was robbed on the scorecards? Do me a favor, subscribe and ring the bell. Leave a comment down there as well. Like the video as well if you want. And keep an eye out for members' videos dropping every day. Cheers. Take care.